Hi everybody, Dan Ullman, Mike Beer, the DRF.com Formulator Race of the Day for Thursday, August the 24th, race number 9 at Saratoga. Let's take a look at the field for the $100,000 Riskaverse Stakes. 3-year-old fillies, again, a mile on the turf. Overflow field, pretty wide open race and should be a good betting affair.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to go in here. I do, it'd be interesting to see, exactly where they go in here, because I think there are a couple different ways that you can take a look at this race. I sort of feel like you have to start the discussion, though, with the number 11, who's dropping in class here, Defying Honor for Jimmy Toner, dropping out of the Lake George. I mean, whether she wins or not, they have her to beat in this race.
In the race advance that's available on DRF Plus, it was noted that Defying Honor displaced last time out her palate. She underwent a little procedure, and maybe she can get her air better, because going into the Lake George, you got the feeling that she was going to be the wise guy horse in that race.
Yeah.
She was. She ended up the 3-1 favorite. She got a really nice trip tracking, and then she came up empty. Perhaps she just couldn't breathe. We know that Defying Honor can step by virtue of her race 2 starts back, where she beat Danceland in a nice performance off a long layoff. She showed a lot of ability as a 2-year-old. We do have a formulator fact for Defying Honor's good trainer Jimmy Toner. Over the past 5 years, 3-year-old turf routers going 3rd off the layoff, 3 for 10, a $4.20 ROI. This filly has a lot of upside. At 6-1 on the morning line, I think that represents some value.
I wonder if you'll get 6-1 on it. We'll see what happens. I guess it all depends on how turned off people were to her last race, where you're right, she just didn't run that well. I personally, when I watched that race and, the displaced palate aside, I just sort of felt like she got a good position in that race early, and then after that, it's not like that trip, to me anyway, worked perfectly for her. It was like one of those situations where she never really came fully clear in the stretch. I don't think she was winning anyway, but it's not like it was some kind of perfect trip. Dan, I just have a feeling that she just might be better than these horses. She's got a tough post, and we'll see what happens with that displacing and all that stuff. I think she might be better than these horses.
But she was in against some really good ones last time out, including the winner, Proctor's Ledge, who came back to win last week. Rated stakes action, the Lake Placid at Saratoga. Remember to head on over to the Race of the Day event page on DRF.com. Download free formulator past performances and handicap along with us. Let's talk about the horses trying turf for the first time, because they've done some nice things on the dirt. The one is Jordan's Henny. Jordan's Henny was 2nd in the Devona Dale, 3rd in the Gulfstream Oaks earlier this year. I look at this pedigree, though, I don't see turf.
Yeah, I mean, I don't either. She's just one of those horses. I feel like, taking horses like her in races like this against established turf horses, it's just a really tough thing to do.
Henny Hughes, the sire, gets 12% winners from first-time turf runners. The dam was 0 for 1 on the turf, has sold 3 turf runners. None of them have won. The dam is a half-sister to a stakes-winning turf runner. I think of the horses trying turf for the first time, Pretty City Dancer might be the best bred for it. She's by Tappet, obviously, 11% first-time turf runner. She's a half-to-Lear's Princess. Was a Grade 1 winner on the dirt, but did go 2 for 4 on the turf, was a first turf winner. And this dam has already thrown 3 turf winners, including Lear's Princess. Solid work tab here. She just didn't take that step forward as a 3-year-old, did she?
No, she didn't, and that's the real question with them trying turf, because you're right. She's got a little pedigree for it, but the question is, were they always waiting to switch her to turf, or are they doing it now because she has not really progressed from 2 to 3? And let's be honest, her recent races on the main track, they're not great. I wonder if they're just making this switch, sort of trying to pick her head up a little bit because she's been so bad this year.
The 5 Burned was 2nd in the Grade 3 Tempted as a 2-year-old filly. She's by Bernardini. We talk about it all the time. They just don't seem to turf. 4% with first-time turf winners. Dam went 0 for 1 on the turf. And this is just a giant dirt female family. I think they're just taking a shot here.
Yeah, I do too. It'll be interesting to see what happens with her. I almost look at her and feel like, I think they put her in here maybe hoping it would come off the turf, and then she'd be in a pretty good spot. If they do leave her in on the grass, I don't really want her.
Mark Cassey, of course, has the 3 Pretty City Dancer, a Grade 1 winner on the dirt. He also has the 2 Let It Ride Mom, who's stretching out in her 2nd start of the form cycle. She can be forwardly placed. What did you think of her effort in the Coronation Cup? That Morticia's turned into a nice turf sprinter.
Yeah, but Morticia really has turned into a nice turf sprinter. She's really hard to beat. This horse, I thought, ran fine to me. It never looked like she was going to win. Now they got to stretch her out.
4th place finisher in that Morticia race, came back to win a 1x allowance with an 83 buyer. They took a shot with Talaki in an off-the-turf race last time out. They kept her in. She was beaten 11 lengths by some nice fillies. This is her game, routing on the turf. She won 2 starts back. That field hasn't come back strong, though.
It hasn't. You're right.
Good.
You're right about it, but I like the way that she won that race. Now, she did, for what it's worth, she ran down, initiate. That's sort of the story of her life. Get a clear lead in the stretch and then get run down by somebody. So, maybe that form isn't holding up that great. On the other hand, this filly's pretty good. I think she's run really well in all 4 of her turf starts. She's 2 for 4 so far. She's run well in all 4 of them, including that Keeneland race to start off this part of the campaign, where she just got all kinds of traffic through the stretch. I think she's good, Dan. I think she's a real dangerous horse in here.
Formulator factored a price. The 6, Burner Diva for the red-hot Bill Mott, who won the Alabama last week with Elate. Burner Diva, past 4 years from Mott, 3-year-old turf router, second off the bench, non-graded stakes, 36%, 248 ROI. This filly has to improve a little bit. 7th last time out in a stake at Indiana Grand. That race was won by a $100 horse, but the runner-up did come back to win the pucker up at Arlington with an 84 buyer.
Sure enough, we'll see what happens with her. I can't say that I love any one of her races. She's obviously fine. She can get a good trip in this race. I like that about her. I just, I go through her PPs. I don't like any one of her races all that much.
The 10 Chubby Star finished best of the horses coming out of the Grade 3 Lake George. If you recall, that race featured no speed on paper. And Chubby Star, who wasn't able to show her speed in the Regret and the Murphy because she was mired in terrible outside post positions, was able to get to the front. I just couldn't really find any excuse other than she was in against some top competition. She's going to allow someone else to set the pace, I think, this time.
Yeah, just no match for those horses. Last time she did the best that she could with it. I think you're right. They'll take her back off the pace a little bit this time. And she's fine with that running style. She can do that. The question is, is she good enough? She gets a little bit of class relief here, but not a ton of class relief.
Lake George, as we mentioned, has been a productive race. Not only Proctor's Ledge coming back to win, but Dream Dancing, who finished 7th, won the Del Mar Oaks, a Grade 1 last week with a 91 buyer. Fizzy Friday was 5th in the Lake George. I thought she did okay considering she was a 56 to 1 shot. She was really outpaced. There was not a lot of speed. She was completely taken out of her game. It just doesn't appear there's a ton of pace in here either.
It's not going to set up great for her, and you're right. She's got that one-run closing style, so we'll see if she can get the right trip and the right kind of setup in here. She ran pretty well in the Lake George. I mean, she wound up 5th, but she was pretty close to 3rd or 4th in that race. So she ran well. She did the best she could. She'll probably have to improve.
Danceland for Shug McGahee has come back good this form cycle, but it must be noted that in both of her races, she got pace. And she is a one-run closer, and I'm not sure that situation is going to replicate itself against better horses this time around, but she does fit the Shug McGahee profile, just a late developing horse.
Yeah, I liked her win last time, but you're right, she had a little bit of a setup in that race. She ran well to be second to Defiant Honor 2 starts back, but she was never going to win that race. Defiant Honor was much the best that day. She'll have to find a way to improve. And I think you're right. She has to find a way to keep closer to the pace somehow.
Kieran McLaughlin has Talaki. He also has the number 9 Lido, who really hasn't done much wrong from 4 lifetime starts. She has a lovely pedigree, and she overcame a lack of pace last time out to beat Initiate.
Yeah, ran down Initiate, who was also on a clear lead in that race. And she also benefited from an unbelievably good ride from Joel Rosario. Saved every inch, and it made all the difference in there, but that was a game win.
Let's take a look at our top selections for the Thursday race of the day, the Riskaverse Stakes. Mike, you like the number 11, Defiant Honor. Let's talk about Cherry Lodge a little bit, because even though she is stuck on the far outside, she has speed. It's not a race with a ton of pace, and I'm looking for Cherry Lodge, who's a very well-bred filly, to have a similar trip as last time, because she got away with murder in that race in her turf debut. She just walked on the lead. But when Johnny V asked her, she drew away pretty readily in upper stretch against the promising Rue Belinda, who's the first AE.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with Cherry Lodge. This is a tough post for her running style, because it almost feels like she has to try and make the lead in this race, and we'll see if she can do it. To me, she just got off way too easy on the lead in that last race. Let me ask you a question. You picked her in this race. I can't really argue with it. If Rue Belinda gets in, would you rather have Rue Belinda? Did she run better than Rue Belinda last time? I'm not so sure that she did.
Well, Rue Belinda was certainly up against it. She didn't really get out of the gate very well. She was up against it from a pace standpoint. From an odds standpoint, I think that they at least ran similarly well, and Rue Belinda, is going to take Monty Franco for Chad Brown if she gets into the race. You're going 11, 4, and 8. Defiant Honor, you don't believe she'll be 6 to 1. What price do you need?
No. I guess if she's 4 to 1, I'll bet her to win. Otherwise, I'm really mostly interested in her and Talaki in this race. They're sort of my 2 horses in this race. I think Talaki has a chance in here at a price.
I think Cherry Lodge is going to drift a little bit off that 7 to 2 morning line. I'll take her to win in the Riskaverse. Maybe horses like Fizzy Friday and Chubby Star, who have kept good company. Fizzy Star, at least. Fizzy Friday just needs at least a little bit of pace up front. So 12, 7, 10, 3 for me in the Riskaverse. If you're betting the Saratoga Thursday card from home, please consider DRF Bets. If you do, you'll have access to a 10% win place takeout on 10 select tracks this summer, including Saratoga, plus you'll gain a $300 bonus. Head on over to drf.com/take10 for all the details, and post time for the Riskaverse, race number 9 at the Spa, 5:40 Eastern. Good luck.